Hello, welcome to the 702news.com, live with a very good friend of mine, a pioneer, a worker, a hustler, and a very young human being with a lot of heart. I want to, before I say his name, I say all these things with pride because he's a great example and he's my inspiration. With you, Mr. Lany Romero Mero Mero. How are you, Lany?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Donald? Aquí nomás, man.
You know what? I can't start thanking you how proud you make me, because I've been wanting to talk with you for such a long time, and until right now, I've known you probably for about 14 years.
Yeah.
But we're finally doing our first interview.
Finally, first time.
Anyway, the most important thing is...
Better late than never, no?
Yeah, exactly. Better late than never. The reason I say that is because right now we're speaking with a gentleman who loves rap, and he lives rap, and he sings rap. And the beautiful thing beside all that, and he shares it. Con nosotros, ¿cómo estás, amigo? ¿Cómo estás, mi Lany?
I'm doing all right. Just dealing with everyday struggles, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Nothing more, nothing less. The voice of the people. You know what I mean? That's what we're working on. Hustling hard and never giving up. You know what I mean? That's
audience. I got to share this with you. What I'm going to say sounds very easy, but we're talking lots of work. Mr. Romero has 16 albums in the market right now.
16.
15, Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, yes.
Y 16 álbumes. Y fíjense, está muy joven y todo, pero me da gusto porque ahorita precisamente me da gusto la conversación de que podemos conectarnos un poquito diferente y decirle, ¿qué está pasando ahorita contigo? What are your dreams? Where are you going? What's happening with you? Because first of all, again, my respects for you, for your hustling, and for whatever you're doing it right, because you're right here, right now. The year 2000, the mystical 2012, we meet.
It's just a blessing just to still be here doing music, doing what we love. Like I said, album number 16, and it still feels like we're working on our first project. You know what I mean? I can't say, there's been a lot of ups and downs, but, regardless, for the love of the music, that's what keeps us motivated and pumped up. You know what I mean? For the people.
How hard, Lany, has it been here in Las Vegas or in New Mexico? Because we know you're from New Mexico, and you're a true Latino. How hard has it been? Because there's not a lot of places. There has to be. You have to have your own network. You have to create your network. You have to invent yourself. How have you done this?
We're just fortunate, to come, before the pre-internet era. Our first record we dropped in 1998. So, when we dropped our first and our second, our third records, it was a time where people were actually still buying music. They were still jumping in their cars and bumping and just rolling down the boulevard, and really getting music out like that, opposed to these days. They just get on the internet, and there's so much, and it's so saturated. But I think since we came in, we stood the test of time. You know what I mean? Our music, the longevity. Here we are, 2012. 98 we dropped our first record, and here still we are, 2012, making new fans. It's a new generation that are barely catching on, and they're going back and listening to our old records, and it's crazy because the stuff we dropped 12 years ago is some of our most popular and most looked after jams.
Exactly.
It's crazy. You know what I mean?
I remember my son telling me, "Dad, you got to listen to these guys, the Clika One." And I remember when he put the CD and this song called Playback.
Oh, that Payback.
Payback. It was so intense. But not only intense, it was, a lot of us connected with that. And right now I'd like to say Clika One is doing an album, correct?
Oh, yeah, Clika One. We got the new music.
Wow.
Music Speaks for Itself.
Awesome.
Album number 16.
Beautiful.
S. Brown, he's got the Masterpiece, his new solo. I got my new solo. And we're just, going to keep on working, doing what we love. We got Monte Carlo Nights, Volume 3 coming out. Organized Hustle, we just dropped the DVD. That's in stores. That's on iTunes. We got Organized Hustle Volume 2 coming out. And we got a lot of stuff, just, working on some films. We're trying to dibble and dabble into the film and, thinking about transition into, the next, transition and part of the game. You know what I mean? It's music, fashion, entertainment. So, we're trying to bring, keep it all independent, in-house, and really just put it all out there. You know what I mean? All we got is us, And
a beautiful thing, too, that I have to mention is, hey, man, you guys are shirt producers.
Oh,
that
man.
shirt you have on is a work of art. I mean, it has its message, and oh my God, I have to mention Mr. Somebody. Oh my God, Mr. Bruce Lee.
Oh, tell me.
Mero. Come on, tell me, man, what's up?
That's nothing but that real amor. You know what I mean? Heart and soul that we put into everything we do. So, the T-shirts. Metal Street Apparel established, since 53. That's just another thing that I, established in 53. That's the year my father was born, rest in peace. But, everything that I do is to carry on that musical legacy, you know what I mean? As you can see in my record logo, the man behind bars, writing a song with the Bible in his hand, that's with the tear in his eyes, with the, tar under his nails, you know what I mean? And the V-neck T-shirt, that's my jefito right there, a hard-working man who struggled. But that's my record logo, I made it as my logo, and that's where I get, my musical, that's Romero born. That was born unto me, knowledge and the talent that my father born to me, and I'm just carrying it down, passing it forward to my hito, you know what I mean? Loncito, you know what I mean? So,
Lany, if you had a chance to tell something to all those artists, all those rappers, all those, any artist that's out there right now and has a chance to listen to what we're listening, what would you tell them to do right now beside of dreaming? Because this is way more than a dream. I mean, this is, like I said, a pattern of a lot of things.
I can say, if you could sum it up, anybody who knows me and knows what I'm about and and knows what I stand for, it's hustle hard, never give up. You know what I mean? That's the motto. That's the words we live by. And that's just a everyday, you gotta hustle hard and don't never give up. You know what I mean? It's never too late. You know what I mean? There's always room to grow. And, it's only over when you throw in the towel. You know what I mean? So, hustle hard, never give up. That's the motto. We stick to the script. You know what I mean?
Oye, Milani, quisiera mandar un saludo muy afectuoso a tu tierra natal, allá a Albuquerque.
Yeah, Albert Crazy, we call it. Albert Crazy, Nuevo Mexico. Yeah, shout out to the Bernalillo County out there, the hometown. A lot of people know, they don't understand, like, is he from New Mexico? Is he from Las Vegas? I represent. I'm born, heaven sent in Nuevo Mexico, raised in LV since the early 80s. You know what I mean? I got homies from the Sandbox, from here to over there, and now I got hermanos in Phoenix, so you know what I mean? Wherever the music takes me, you know what I mean? That's where I got, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. There's no boundaries. There's no limits to Metal Records, you know what I mean? Metal Musica, you know what I mean?
Well, you know what?
Worldwide, universal.
Your words are wisdom, and your actions are real. Congratulations, man.
Gracias.
Thank you, carnal. Te lo agradezco con toda el alma y gusto y honor porque somos latinos y la estamos haciendo y no hay nada ni nada que nos va a parar. Ahora, amigo, quiero darte las gracias porque esto del 702 News Podcast, what we're trying to do is, like I told you, basically, just let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk music. Forget the BS. Just music.
That's all we, you know what I mean, ever really cared about is just people just listening. You know what I mean? We don't need all that other extra stuff that poisons the game and poisons the artists these days. Just keeping it real, keeping it authentic, and staying H&H, I say, hungry and humble. You know what I mean? You got to stay hungry and humble. You know what I mean? And that's what got Clika One and got Metal Records, as far as we got, you know what I mean? And we still got so far to go, so the best is yet to come. Guarantee that. You know, nothing but amor for, you know what I mean? Blood and sweat and tears. That's all we. That's